Hi there, I'm Stephen Stairs. I'm the president and CEO of Benton Resources, Inc. We're listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, and we're a multi-commodity company involved in copper, nickel, platinum, palladium, lithium, and gold, along with subcredits of cobalt and silver. And our main focus is advancing our high-grade Great Burnt Lake discovery in Newfoundland, Canada.
Stephen, good. Thanks for joining us. First time you've been on the show with Benton. You've had a great few weeks of it, haven't you?
Yes, Matt. It's been wonderful. In my career, since I've been in this industry, 17 years old, this is by far the best project we've ever worked on, and I believe it will be a substantial high-grade resource by the time we're done.
Right, like you said, we're going to get into it in a second. I'm going to start with the copper gold side of things, and we can maybe get into some of the other commodities, including the lithiums, the PGEs, etc. But before we do, telling me a little bit about you. What's your background? What have you done?
So I started in the industry when I was 17 years old. My whole family basically are prospectors in the industry. My uncles, my dad, my two brothers run publicly traded companies or have run publicly traded companies. My latest discovery here is Great Burnt Lake. And we've been involved in many, many discoveries across Canada and worked worldwide in various environments. And my uncle and my first cousin discovered the Newfound gold Keat zone. My mom is a Keats. That's a major thing that's happening in Newfoundland right now with over 500,000 meters of being drilled. The whole family is involved, and we love what we do.
Well, keep it in the family. Yeah, nice. Let's start off first. Say with the first project was Great Burnt Copper and Gold project. How did you pick it up? Why do you own it?
We've been following the project for quite some time. We've seen that John Ryan picked it up in 2016. Prior to 2016, most of the exploration on Great Burnt was done in the 60s and 70s. And after that work was done, anybody that went back into the belt tried to expand on new deposits and new resources kind of outside of the known drilled deposit. What they didn't know is in the 60s when they drilled it, they had poor recovery issues. They had azimuth issues with actually not knowing where the winky size, the size of your baby finger core, where those drill rods were going. So therefore, they didn't adequately test the deposit. From our understanding and reading the old drill logs, they were talking about poor recoveries, grinding the copper ore away because it's very soft, and standard drilling, it's pretty tough to recover that stuff. So in 2016, Spruce Ridge re-drilled some of the deposit only to find their grades were substantially higher and their thicknesses were substantially wider in some of these previously drilled sections. So they done a campaign in 2016, 2018, and 2020. All being very successful and expanding, better grades and better thicknesses. And then in 2021, they moved 16 kilometers to the north. With that program, they started drilling some gold intercepts. Didn't report the copper, interestingly enough, but wide intercepts of gold, 1.7 grams gold over like 50 to 51 meters. And, some 3 grams over 20, stuff like that. So, this is a very robust system. Just north of where Spruce Ridge drilled the gold zone, we've done some trenching, and we've uncovered, up to 5.5% copper with 6 grams gold. Historically, there's 5 drill holes in that area over about a 400 meter strike length with very good grades of copper over significant widths, and sporadic assaying for gold because that they didn't originally assay for gold in that South Pond deposit. So this is an area that we can hammer with drill holes and expand on that resource. And but this it would also have high grade gold. So there's 6 known occurrences over 15 kilometers that really need new modern technology, new drilling, and more geophysics to chase these deposits.
Okay, and I'm just unclear about how you picked it up. Okay, Spruce Ridge Resources had it. There's even a kind of PEA on it. What what was the cost of it to you? When did you pick it up? You
You
own it?
Yeah. So what ended up happening is Spruce Ridge, had some internal management changes. The new CEO that came in, Steve Balch, great guy. He's a real good nickel guy. So I think they start focusing on trying to pick some nickel assets up. And so I approached him and said, "Look, I'll give you a fair deal for the project. Can we get on with making an option on it?" And he was amenable to it. So we paid 15 million shares, which are periodically escrowed over 20 months. So 5 million comes free trading in January, and then another 5 million 8 months after January, so next like November, and then after that another 12 months. We are earning 70% interest by spending $2.5 million, and we've already spent about 1.1 million to date on the current 6,000 meter program we just finished.
Gotcha. Okay, fine. So on the conclusion of the spend, that 2.5 million spend, you will have a 70% position, and that option will give you 70%, right?
That's correct. And with the financing we just completed with Sprott, that will get us our 70% interest. And from there, it'll be a 70-30 joint venture, participating joint venture. And if Spruce don't participate, they will dilute to zero.
Gotcha. Okay, so they will dilute to zero, and you have the chance of picking up 100%.
Correct.
Simple, really simple, beautiful. Okay, great. So obviously you know a lot about this, and there's a lot of data. And let's say there's a PEA. When was that PEA from, actually?
They filed it in 2022.
Okay. So obviously the grades are good, but you got to go and find a bunch more of it. So tell me more about this drill program. Yeah.
So the grades in the PEA are really based on like 2.5% copper, and it's based on probably 80% of historical drill holes, which we now know are completely inaccurate. Everywhere we've drilled outside of, our grades have been much better than what was reported. So this is, to us, unbelievable. And outside of that, we've drilled outside of the PEA pit shell or grade shell that they counted the resource in. And we've expanded on it, and it's wide open, up dip, up plunge, and certainly down plunge. Hole number 12 would have intersected, which should be the next round of drill holes released. Holes 12, 13, 14. The center of the core of the high grade would have been right in where 12 plunges, and that's wide open down plunge. And we suspect that hole will grade, very similar to other holes that we've announced. And we're pretty excited that this thing is wide open down plunge and not previously recognized.
Right. Okay. Now, like I said, you've had a sort of exceptional month or so in terms of reaction in the market, and not surprising when you're sort of, hitting grades of like you are over. Decent widths too. We're talking about 12.3 meters of 7.2 and 18.8 meters at 3%. It's catching the eye for sure. But it's all recent, right? And the attention has been recent. So clearly you're expecting some kind of reaction. You must be clearly pleasantly surprised by the reaction in the marketplace. You've raised a little bit of money now. Tell me about the strategy that you're going to employ in terms of making sure you don't dilute the heck out of everyone, but can get after this thing in a slightly more aggressive manner if that's the plan.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Benton got about 3.5 million in equities. We got another just about 3 million in cash. So we're fairly well positioned to advance it probably for the next year. Realistically, this needs 40,000 meters of drilling to get started. With these zones to the north that are wide open, there is some structurally complexities to it that we need to do trenching, open this stuff up, get some good mapping done, understand the structure, the folds, the limbs, and once we start getting this picture put together, I think the next summer is going to be remarkable for success. So drilling down plunge this winter just to show that the Great Burnt is open. There's a zone called the North Stringer Zone, which is 800 meters to 1,000 meters north of Great Burnt. That was drilled by Celtic Minerals in 2003 to 2007. Celtic went bankrupt in the 2008 crisis, and that Stringer Zone, they had DPM anomalies outlined for drilling, which they never tested. So there's another big target that we have. They did have some high-grade copper in narrow widths on that North Stringer Zone and wide zones of low-grade stuff. So this thing has got multiple chances to have multiple VMS deposits in this vector. And if we can put all that together and start coming up with some 6 to 10 million ton deposits, it's going to be a wonderful year for us.
Yeah, it's interesting. These kind of volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits, you don't need a lot of them at these sorts of grades. So if you get a sort of sense of what you're trying to build up here, because again, and it comes back to what we're seeing in the marketplace, where the business model seems to be changing for companies. Gone are the days of maybe drilling to the edge of the envelope. You've got to sort of take advantage by sort of creating value quicker, and then sort of being able to communicate to the market what the kind of plan is for you as a company. You are exploration guys, right? That's what you focus on. So how do you build this story up?
Yeah, you build it up by keep delivering results. There's just, as we know, talking the talk is one thing, but walking the walk is a whole different story. And, it took a long time to find a project of this caliber to be able to walk the walk. We've always talked the talk. We've been involved in many, many discoveries, a lot of them small, some bigger ones. But we just got to drill and we got to deliver results, and we got to do the work. We have boots on the ground. We're boots on the ground guys. We do the work ourselves. We built the camp ourselves. I mean, we done it all. We only own this project since September 1st. We permitted the drill program, permitted the drill pads. Built a 20-man camp, and we drilled 6,000 meters by the end of November. So that's at less than $200 a meter all in. So pretty remarkable.
That's good,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Can I just talk about this story data? I know you weren't necessarily rubbishing it, but you sort of, I guess, questioning the quality of it. How do you use that, or how do you analyze that historic data? There's got to be some benefit in there, and if so, how do you come at it? How do you interpret it?
The stock performance?
No, the historical data. You were talking about some of the drilling that previously was not necessarily exceptional.
Historical data is just that. I mean, you use it to your advantage. There's obviously some really good data in there. I mean, the deposit was found and drilled. So therefore, that's, the first step. Now we have to take the drilling with a grain of salt, and improve on it, and either prove that it was wrong, or so that's going to take more drilling, and or prove that some of it was good and some of it was bad. But from our drilling to date, we've certainly proven that we need to re-drill this whole deposit.
Right. Okay. I guess you'll work out how to reinterpret that data with a bit of supporting drilling action as well. Okay.
Even the geophysical data, we've started to engage geophysicists to relook at every bit of geophysical data that's been completed in the past, from the 60s all the way up to the 2000s when Spruce Ridge flew a new airborne. I mean, there is hundreds of untested conductors, with known copper occurrences from historical prospecting, for instance. So now tying the old historical data on top of new conductors that were discovered with VTEM and newer type surveys, that's all coming together. So, and this is the reason why we started to do some trenching to the north, because that's never been done. I mean, the Great Burnt deposit's never been stripped off, and it's within 2 kilometers of a huge power dam that our camp sits on, road accessible. So this summer we're going to strip that thing right off and wash it so we can get a good look at the geology, the structure, how the zoning looks on surface. All this data is going to help us find more deposits and also define the ones that we're drilling off.
Okay, well, look, and maybe you can come back on and dive into the drilling and the drill data and the interpretation of the historic data with one of our geos, and we can get into it. So start get a sense of what you're seeing there. One of the things you did mention, and so great. So we look forward to that. But like I say, there's a lot of moving parts here. So as well, you've also got lithium, right? So people do want copper and gold, and silver and zinc and cobalt, but they definitely are interested in lithium at the moment. You've got your Vinland lithium project with Piedmont is involved. They've put some seed capital in there. Again, where's that come from?
Yeah, so that started 2021 in a joint venture partnership with Sokoman Minerals. Basically, we during the gold rush in Newfoundland, we thought there's opportunities to find new gold deposits on large scale structures that nobody was really looking at. So Tim and I, the CEO of Sokoman, we put together a proposal along with my brother Mick, looking at large scale structures. We staked a whole pile of large land positions, and we started to look, immediately take a helicopter in and start prospecting. The very first day on the Golden Hope Gold Project, we discovered a series of lithium dikes, first ever on the island. And since that time, we've discovered very high-grade cesium dikes, also first ever on the island. In a thesis, the lithium should have been there because it is the same belt as the Carolinas that go up into Nova Scotia and then across Newfoundland and into Ireland, where the Leinster lithium deposits are. So in theory, they should have been there, but nobody had ever found them. So this was the very first discovery. Since that time, Newfoundland and Atlantic Canada federally have been, I think there's like 16 geoscientists working on this area, looking at the lithium potential. We own about 60 kilometers of favorable horizon. We've got soil geochemistry anomalies now for about 30 kilometers. That is very similar to the signature on the main Kraken and Killick discovery. And we've recently brought in Piedmont Lithium as our partner. They're going to spend $12 million over 54 months to earn 67% interest in the project directly. And they financed Vinland Lithium, which will be the mother company that holds the project, $2 million cash at $1 per share. And Benton owns 4 million shares of Vinland, and so does Sokoman. And Piedmont owns 2 million. And our plan is to take that company public in January or February with the blessing of Piedmont, which we're currently working with. So that's that's where we're going with that. This will be the tightest lithium company on the exchange, with only 2 to 3 million shares tradable after the IPO. So pretty exciting times, I think the opportunity for lithium in Newfoundland has just begun as well.
Yeah, I spoke to Tim a couple of days ago, and he's equally excited about what that holds. Okay, so there we go. So we got that component, but that's when it goes public, that's not something you're looking to offload or monetize in any way anytime soon, right?
No, we think this is an opportunity, a rare opportunity to have a company that could be a leader in the space. We got, most lithium companies, you find a deposit, then what do you do with it? You gotta make a concentrate that can only be to a maximum of 7% lithium in a spodumene concentrate. Then you got to get some sort of an offtake agreement, it's very tough to do that as well. I mean, we've got that built all into Vinland, with Piedmont building a refinery down in the U.S. We're on the south coast of Newfoundland on the Atlantic Ocean, where we could easily put concentrate on a boat and get it down to the Carolinas and into their facility in Tennessee. So we've got this all built in as a strategic pile. So again, this is a rare opportunity for shareholders that we've kind of built all that into one.
But we haven't stopped yet. We haven't finished. There's more. PGEs as well. So again, tell us a little bit about that project, or that interest, I should say.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, we spun out a company out of Benton called Clean Air Metals. Essentially, we purchased a deposit from Rio Tinto Explorations and another company in Australia called Panoramic Resources. We merged the two deposits together as they sit side by each. They're magmatic conduits, very similar to Crux in Russia. A very high grade copper nickel PGEs. I think somebody intercepts in an escape lake were greater than 40 meters at greater than 8 grams platinum palladium with over 2% combined copper nickel. These are, again, very rare discoveries, high grade. Clean Air had some internal problems. They made a mistake on their initial resource estimate and then had to cut it by 30% a year later, which kind of they got punished in the market down to 4 cents. It's run by a guy by the name of Jim Gallagher, who was the CEO of North American Palladium, which, of course, is only 60 kilometers north of the Clean Air Metals deposit, Thunder Bay North deposit, which is the Impala Canada Palladium mine now. So, in theory, they could probably mine this deposit and mill it at the Impala plant. But that certainly has not come to fruition, because we thought that was the key to this deposit being a very, very viable deposit. So, with that, Clean Air recently has been making strides, trading high volume, gone from 4.5 cents to 7.5 to 8 as of today. And it's been mentioned by a few brokers and analysts in the last little while as being a bottom feed, opportunity. So maybe that's what's moving it. But they did make an announcement a few months ago that they hired a group out of Paradigm Capital out of Toronto to see if they could find a suitor for the deposit. Somebody else that's in the copper, nickel, platinum, palladium space. You couldn't get better infrastructure. It's 40 kilometers north of Thunder Bay, which is a mining town. So infrastructure, a paved highway goes through the project. It's got it all. And you're 60 kilometers south. You had to drive through the project to get to the Lac des Îles palladium mine, which is the only primary palladium producer in North America. So I think there's great opportunity there. Benton is the biggest shareholder at 24.6 million shares. My friends and family own probably 5 million shares, including myself. So I think, again, I'm really bullish on clean air metals, and the fact that Benton owns 24 million shares, I believe is going to be a payday for us. Outside of that, we own a 0.5% royalty on that deposit. So yeah, other opportunities. Of course, we spun out or just sold a gold project up in Red Lake near on the same structure as the Great Burnt or Great Bear discovery to Renegade Gold. We received our last payment of $300,000. We kept a 2% royalty on that. So Benton has got a lot of irons in the fire, including past royalties that we still hold on various projects we've generated. But ultimately, I think Great Burnt is going to be our major discovery.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess also you got a lot going on with Sokoman, as you know, Tim front at Sokoman as well. But the key is, as you say, focus. So that you focus your capital, focus your time, money, and effort on Great Burnt, and that's the thing I think people are getting excited about for sure. Look, Stephen, as a first pass through the company, I've enjoyed actually hearing you talk about it. There are a lot of moving parts, but they're all great optionality for the future. But for now, we look forward to staying in touch with regards to Great Burnt and everything that you're doing with it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Matt. Great Burnt is going to be our 100% focus moving forward here. So, yeah, it's going to be some fun times ahead.